came back. Okay, so welcome everybody. Happy Monday. And you guys, if you haven't seen me before, I am Steph McPhee. I am the Communications and Community Guide for WBEC, Florida. And so I am so excited. So if you want to know what I do, all those emails that you get, that's me.
All the great emails.
All those emails, all the social media, that's coming from me. But I'm also very, very fortunate that I get to represent WBEC here in North Florida. And so today's call, the purpose of our call today is we have gathered not only our fabulous and wonderful CEO and President Nancy Allen, but we have gotten the gang pretty much together, the regional leaders of WBEC Florida throughout the community. And in light of all of this, all the things that are going on around the world and the state, we wanted to engage in a conversation that we know is going to be more than today. We're going to start doing these pretty regularly, but we wanted to kick it off with, number one, if you haven't had a chance to meet us, to meet the team, outside of also fabulous Lisa and Gelsey, who hold down the fort for us at home there in Miami, but to see the rest of the team, to get to know us, and for us to share some updates from around the state to all of you. So again, just wanted to say, if you have something, you are muted today, but we do have the chat open. Feel free. I'm going to monitor the chat and make sure that we stop if we see something really important. We will pause every now and then to ask for questions. And then we have some exciting things at the end that we're going to lead to you. So I just want to see, oh, we've got Sherry. Oh gosh, I'm going to say her name wrong. Sherry Sakino, and she's making face masks. Oh, how exciting. So we will definitely be looking forward to it. So again, welcome. And what we're going to do is we're going to kick it off with Nancy. So Nancy, if you can, number one, just give some greetings to everybody and then share some updates from National WBEC.
Sure. So thank you everyone for joining us. And I love the Zoom platform, because it allows us to do so many great things, right? You all can see us. Eventually, when Zoom grows or we get a better Zoom, maybe we can see groups of you too. We're happy to be here because our territory through the WBEC network is Florida minus the Panhandle. So as Steph said, she represents us in North Florida. Diane Sears represents us in Central Florida. And Joanna is in the Tampa Bay area. Our office is in Miami, and our Lisa and Gelsey, who worked with us for years and years, they're both working from home, but still connected. We set them up at home with the equipment to be able to continue to provide you all with really great service. As you all probably know, the Summit and Salute was postponed, and we're looking at what we can do to make up for that opportunity to do networking on a national level. On a regional level, what we're trying to do is stay connected through alternative means. This platform is a great one for us to stay connected. And in a bit, Steph is going to tell you about another initiative to stay connected that we're pretty excited about. So welcome and thank you for joining us. Let us know how we can help.
Yes, thank you, Nancy. Yeah, that is, so we've got a couple of I'd say we got two things we really want to get out on this call. Number one is to just update you from, as Nancy said, from WBEC, and then also from around the state, which is why Joanna and Diane and I are here to just kind of give you sort of a little update from your market. Then the second thing is we do want to make sure that you guys know how to reach us and get in contact with us. If you didn't see the email that went out on Friday, one of the major things we want you to do is, and Nancy and I just had a really great session this morning, brainstorming, but we want to brainstorm with you. I think we're all in this together, and one of the things that, if I can, and if you haven't met me before, you're going to learn this about me, little Miss Positive over here. The most positive thing I can think of is the innovation that is going to come out of all of this. And so we are very excited, and already, I know I'm seeing some amazing things up here in North Florida. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be sharing. So again, we're here to just get some information out to you, to talk about some resources that you may not know, and then to also let you know how you're going to connect with us in the coming weeks so that we can help you innovate your business. So I don't know, Diane, do you mind kicking us off with sort of just what you're seeing going on in Orlando area? I know you've already sent me some great things.
I have. Well, you know, the SBA has offered to help in providing some funding for people who are having a hard time with the small businesses getting through. We are also so fortunate to have help from the state of Florida. But those things are the applications are very hard to navigate. So we have a set of attorneys here in Central Florida, led by Catherine Losey from the Losey Law Firm, who sent us a note that they will pro bono for free help our business owners through the application processes for these. So it's, as I said, it's very daunting. It's almost like applying for a certification or something. Well, maybe not quite that daunting. You all have been through that. But anyone who needs help, and you don't have to be a woman-owned business, they're helping any small business through. But they wanted to put it out to our members first, since Catherine is one of our certified members. I think that's really exciting. So I know some of you out there, you have a lot of employees, you're not sure how to pay them. Maybe you've had to close your doors. You know, maybe you have a brick and mortar store or a business where you depend on in-person interaction to be able to function as a business. And we're really feeling your pain. So that's what we want to help with. And then others of you maybe are kind of just getting started with new contracts and they've been called off, and you know, you need to figure out how to get more contracts. And those are the kinds of things we want to talk about. So.
And I'm just going to real quick, while you were saying that, I'm going to drop in the comments a link. If you didn't already see, we have put together a resource page, and there are categories we're keeping in here around opportunities, around resources. And so make sure, if you want to bookmark this, because this is where everything we're talking about today, we are compiling this so that you can find it. And the link to email the attorneys, if you want help with the application, is on that page as well at the bottom under opportunities. So just bookmark that, because as the team is sending me these things, we are getting those up on the website as quickly as we possibly can. And so these are coming in all throughout the day. And even if you have something you want to share, please, I think if you don't have our emails, we'll make sure we get them to you. But just keep that, because that's where all the stuff that you're going to hear today that we're putting. And if they mention something that I haven't put on there, we'll make sure we get it on there for you guys today.
And Steph, I know that the SBA has been putting together some calls, kind of like this one, very informational calls. So I'm going to send you those informational pieces as well. If they're adding new sessions all the time. I think there's actually one going on right now, but they were saying they're going to have one every day. But the one thing I saw said that there's a big one on Thursday. So this coming Thursday.
Perfect.
So
and
they're doing their best to try to help us navigate through all of this, the SBA. So.
Yeah, perfect. And I just wanted to jump in because I know that the South Florida SBA did a call last week, and there were quite a few people that couldn't get on that. So again, just know they're trying to do these as often as they possibly can. And then as a secondary point of information, we're going to try to redisseminate that stuff as well. So if you can't get it from them, then, you know, definitely a lot of you that reached out, Nancy and I were trying to, you know, collate or find out other stuff and get that out. So if you're having trouble getting on these calls, let us know. We can work with our partners. And again, we're getting all that information as well. The other thing, if you haven't already, which most of you have, but you can go to the SBA website and a couple of the others and make sure you're signing up to get the updates. I did that, and then you're going to get those emails as quickly as they come out, and then you can get signed up for these calls. So make sure that you're going on the websites, and if you were reluctant to sign up for newsletters, now is the time to do it. So anything else from you guys there in Orlando, Diane?
No, I wanted to tell you that I'm hearing some really interesting things too about LinkedIn offering 16 free classes that you can take during this little bit of a downtime. And then I heard, and I'll send you that stuff. And then I heard on the national news this morning that all of the Ivy League schools are offering some online classes for free. So, you know, if you want to get that, you know, certificate or whatever in philosophy or politics or whatever while you're having some time, not having to commute every day. That's also an option.
That
Good
is-
idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So Joanna, how about you? What's going on over there in Tampa?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Everyone that is from Tampa. I want you to know that I have been in contact with our resource partners, and I'm going to give you the latest and greatest from them. And feel free to email me, with any questions that you have. But so I'm going to start with the Super Bowl, because I know that a lot of you guys applied to work with the Super Bowl, and some of you guys even made it to the interview stage, and that's really amazing. And so I spoke with LaKendria Robinson. She's the director of Business Connect, and she said that they were notifying all of the applicants of their status last week, and by today, everyone should be notified whether you were accepted or not into the Business Connect. And if you did not receive an email, she said to check your spam folder or your junk folder just to make sure that it's not in there. But she says to stay safe, and she hopes everyone is safe also. And so we are excited for those of you that applied and did get accepted. So let us know if you did, because we'd like to give you a shout out. Okay, moving on to the ECC. So Lynn Crozen, she's the manager of the ECC, the Entrepreneur Collaborative Center. And she is basically saying to sign up, like you said, Steph, for their newsletter. They have the, up-to-date information about what's going on there. And also they offer workshop classes there for free. And of course they are canceled, but they do have a few that are live streamed. Some of you have been wanting to go to the 1 Million Cups and you're not able to make it there. Well, they have it live on Facebook. So check out that page and go see what the 1 Million Cups is about. And let's see. And also there is a link to a website. And Steph, I'll send this to you. I'm not sure if you have it. It's hcffl.gov or hcflgov.net/staysafe. Do you have that one? If not, I'll send you that, because that one has an alert system.
Okay.
And but basically, if you're signed up to their Facebook and their Twitter, you'll also hear that information. And then the SBDC, Janina Rosario from there is saying that they are doing one-on-one over Zoom calls, like assistance with the bridge loan program. So if you're having trouble with navigating that on your own, you can contact the Small Business Development Council, and they will get you through. I know they are really busy, so I'm not sure how fast it would go, the process, but they are there for you. And finally, Working Women of Tampa Bay. Jessica Ravelli has revamped her workshops, and she has 6 or 8 in the next 2 weeks. They're online. So if you are looking for a quick way to connect with other women and kind of see what's happening with their businesses, and I would recommend checking out Working Women of Tampa Bay for that right now. But I think that's pretty much it over here. Are there any questions for the Tampa Bay area?
Yeah, while we're waiting for questions, let me just share that Working Women of Tampa Bay has a really great model, right? And it's one that I think a lot of our members could benefit from adapting to their own businesses. So she is an organization that brings working women of Tampa Bay area together multiple times over the week. She does breakfast or lunch or networking sessions, and they're usually in person. And so she, was faced with possibly losing a lot of her revenue, and she turned her in-person meetings into Zoom and online meetings through these workshops that Joanna is telling you about. And it's probably worth, I think she charges between $15 and $25 to participate in the workshops. For those of you who have, a business where you think it might work for you, just go ahead and join one of her workshops and see how she does it. I believe she's using some kind of a platform like we're using, the Zoom. And so you can be, and we'll talk about creativity in a little bit, you can be really creative with the way you're reaching out, not only to your existing clients, to your potential clients, and even to your employees, because remember, we've got to keep engaged with our employees as well. Okay.
That is fantastic. Yeah, we're going to spend a little bit of time here. I want to go around and also see some of the innovation that we're all seeing, because I'm sure we are right now. So that's a great, but I'll just give you a quick update from North Florida. And one of the biggest things that I am really seeing is the chambers up here. We are members of both the Jacksonville and the St. Johns County chambers. And that's another one. If you, again, have been hesitant and haven't signed up because of the inundation of emails, go ahead and sign up for your chamber email. Just as Joanna said, they're also offering resources to help small businesses fill out the applications. Specifically for the Florida fund, not necessarily the SBA fund, but the Florida fund. So, but they may be busy. So, but get signed up, because I get a daily update from both the chambers, and they have been incredible letting us know what's going on, disseminating information and the impacts from the governor and all of that. The other thing that I really want to say is also keeping engaged, right? So as we all know, we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to help you guys keep engaged. And we've been hearing, and Diane, you may want to speak to what you heard through WPO about how members are struggling with that, right?
Yeah, so Women Presidents Organization, and I don't know how many of you are members, but it's for companies that have revenue of $1 million or more. They're all over the world. They're in 130 something countries now all over the world. And it's a model where you get together with up to 20 people once a month for 3 hours and just discuss what's happening in your business at a very, very intense level. So I understand that they are having more meetings. They're having them virtual now, sometimes once a week, just to help their members kind of cope. And I'm hearing this from a lot of the chapter chairs. I used to be a chapter chair here in Orlando. So we want to do something like that with you all, where we can really get in depth with what you're going through. And we thought the logical way to break it up would be to do it geographically. So that's why we're thinking of having some small meetings where we can really just get in depth and talk about what we're going through, or what you all are going through. And then Stephanie, one of the other things I wanted to talk about was, after talking with WPO and hearing what's happening with WBEC, and then of course what we're all experiencing, my organization called Go for the Greens, we've put together some resources as well. Go for the Greens, as you all might know, is a conference that happens every September. And we're not sure what's going to happen with that. We all hope that everything will be fine by September, but because all of us are missing all these opportunities to do matchmaking through WBEC and possibly later through NMSDC and going to the WPO conference and the Enterprising Women Conference, we're missing all of these face-to-face opportunities. So Go for the Greens has put together a kind of a virtual town hall, and we'll be doing the first one on April 1st. It'll be somewhat like this, but we'll be interviewing people who are the supplier diversity experts, and then also interviewing people from maybe Nancy Allen, and how to cope with these things. So that's another resource for you. That's more of a national, international resource than a statewide and local one, which we are doing here. So we'll also post that information for you guys, for anyone who's interested.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. So one other thing I wanted to add too with the chambers, like our chamber up here, depending on what kind of business you are, they are also offering to disseminate your operating hours and, so if you have a facility and how that works with your customers. So again, I really wanted to encourage that, because up here, just as you probably do in some areas, I know Tampa has a really great downtown with small restaurants owned by a lot of business owners. or even, other kinds of shops and stores with products, they are giving out the information of how to access those products. So for example, like some of our local coffee shops obviously have moved to either, pickup orders or delivery and things like that. So the chamber is actually getting that information out to all of us in the city. So again, just, definitely reach out. Universities are another one. I know each of us have some really great universities. University of North Florida has an entrepreneur center. I'm going to be working with them. They're a good partner of ours, working to try to get information. And then Jack's Bridges, which is a free training program for business owners. If you have done that, it's phenomenal up here in Jacksonville. It's free, but they are going to move that to virtual. So that's going to be amazing. It's a really great course that you can go through. So they're figuring out how to take it from a classroom setting to a virtual setting so they can still do another cohort. So again, just stay tuned and sign up for as many. Like I said, I know I'm also sometimes a little hesitant about getting all those newsletters, but right now this is how we need the information. But I do want to go ahead, since Diane did a great segue, and let you guys know. So what we are planning to start, and I know I'm personally excited because, as you can't tell, I'm an extrovert and I'm really missing connecting with everybody. So we are actually going to take each of us a night starting next week. And at 7 o'clock, you'll be able to call in to a Zoom. We will see each other in those settings and get an opportunity. We're going to lead you in some constructive dialogue, and that we can share how we can help each other, what we're learning from the situation, and kind of how we're coping, what we're doing on a daily basis to help. And so those are going to be open. We're going to post them on Facebook. They'll go out in the email this week. And so like Mondays will be Nancy, and Tuesdays will be Diane in Central Florida, and Joanna's doing Wednesday, and I'm doing Thursday for North Florida. But you can also, because we know many of you work throughout the state, you can join any call you want. If it doesn't matter, we just did it that way so that we can each manage a night. And we're going to try to keep them pretty quick. But again, we know that engagement is one of the probably most difficult things, a lot of us, because we're not getting out. I heard from another woman, she does all her business through networking and handing out business cards. And so that's really unnerving her right now about how she's going to get business. And so I know we can all put our heads together and help. Plus, just get an opportunity to connect. So just stay tuned for that. But with that, if you guys are okay, let's segue a little bit, because I would love to share some of the things. Nancy, you started that with Working Women with Tampa, but if you don't mind, let's all share maybe some things we've been seeing that are really exciting and innovative to kind of get the creative juices flowing. But I do want to mention a couple of things real quick. So one thing we have from Delinda is she does want to encourage, if you have not worked from home before, make sure that you are checking on the sort of the cybersecurity parts of your computer. So this is a really good point, because sometimes we're not, if you've had an office, maybe you don't have it set up as well at home to lock things down. So I think that's a great tip. To make sure you're doing that. Oh, we do have a graduate from cohort 4 of the Bridges. Yay. Let's see. Oh, okay, then we've got just a couple other things here, some tips from people. So we'll share some of this at the end. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, you got one?
Everyone can see each other's comments, right?
I think so. Are you all be able to see the chat, right?
Yeah.
I think I've got some other questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, here's one. Barbara is saying that her company, Destination Better, is hosting a podcast called Creating Responsible Companies. We're hearing from our colleagues that they are wrestling with how to respond, and they desperately need solutions. Wow. What great. So thank you for putting that in the chat. I think that's a great segue into sharing some tips. So Nancy, do you want to start? I know you shared one. Did you have some others maybe to share?
Yeah, well, my biggest tip is take this time to read or to watch, some podcasts or informational things on YouTube. The other day I was in between meetings, and I found myself just, because I'm going to be doing a workshop, as an aside to lead into this, I'm doing a workshop, in the fall on intergenerational conflict in the workplace, which is a really big topic for some in some larger corporations. And so I was just looking for resources, and I found an incredible interview that Simon Sinek did. Now, he is the author of Start With Why and my current favorite book called The Infinite Game, where he talks about, everybody talks about the millennial problem. Well, if you are in that frame of mind, or you have millennials working for you and you're not quite sure how to deal with them, listen to that podcast. He's got some really wonderful ideas. We used to do a book chat on a monthly basis, and maybe we'll bring that back because I'm a voracious reader, and I am inviting you, if you are not a reader, to listen to audiobooks, because that's a really great thing to do while you're maybe doing some housework or out in the garden, or if you're able to drive someplace and you have some time, you can always listen to an audiobook. The more we read, the more we open our minds to opportunities and creativity. And you never know what one passage in a book can do for your business. So I'm really encouraging you to read, and using platforms like Zoom, right, for connecting with your employees is really, really important. One of the reasons, most of you probably know this, but one of the reasons people leave employment or is that they don't feel like they were appreciated or understood or connected with. So this is a really great time now to reach out and make those connections, especially since most of us are working individually, right? We're not coming to the office anymore. So it's a really great way. You can set up team meetings on Zoom, and then you can do some individual calls as well. So there's nothing like seeing someone and, looking them in the eye as you're catching up with them, or, offering advice. So I really encourage you to look into the Zoom platform, not only for business development. It's a great way to do business development. It's also a great way to stay connected with your existing clients, as well as most importantly with your staff.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, the books, I definitely want to jump in. Nancy knows she has been, I laughed when you smiled about the audio, because I was a little bit pushed back. I don't have time to read. And so finally signed up for Audible, everything around Christmas. And The Infinite Game, if you've never read it, put that one on. And then Vivid Vision is another one. So we'll start listing this. And then, yes, we have Octavia and a couple of you bring the book chat back. So because I don't know about you guys. And another great tip I learned, I have a small one. I have a 5-year-old. And of course, right now, she's just a little uncertain. So I told Nancy I figured out how, when she's struggling to go to sleep and I'm cuddling her, I put my book in now. And I listen, and then, so I can be listening to the book while I'm helping rub her back to go to sleep. So there's so many things, because I know I'm going to be balancing the homeschooling, and I know, Joanna, you are too. So,
Yeah.
That's going to be a new thing for me. There was a reason why I wasn't a teacher. So, but I love these ideas. So, Diane, what about you? Have you been seeing any creative things right now?
People are pitching in and saying that they're happy to deliver food to people who don't want to or can't go out. I think we're all probably seeing that. And that's not necessarily a moneymaker, but it's just a way to spread goodwill in the community for sure. And then I'm seeing also a lot of people are applying to Publix, because Publix and all of the grocery stores and all are really jammed, and they're trying to get more workers. So if you have anyone around who's like a teenager or someone you don't mind, giving advice to, I know some people in the community who are not necessarily business owners but have been laid off. But anybody who's been laid off, there are some jobs out there that can be done, and hopefully they're all staying safe. I got something that was really interesting today. And it was some safety tips, and I want to share them with you all. It's a recording, and it's fairly long, but it's very somber. It talks about things like how to ward off the virus itself, because it has, it has a lot to do with the mucus. it gets in your throat and hardens. And one of the things that it kept saying was drink hot beverages all day. You know, every 20 minutes have a hot beverage. Don't just have. So I was actually making some tea right before this started. You know, things like that that are really practical that you can control yourself. You know, we as business owners, we have to stay healthy, and that's the number one thing. So, you know, I keep thinking, oh, I need to go out and get some more vegetables, and I think, no, you know what? I can make do with what I have in my cabinet for as long as possible, and then I'm not out on the streets, you know, potentially being a carrier for anyone else. So, you know, we have to be really smart these days. I don't think that's what you wanted. I think you wanted something happy and cheerful, but
No. Well, actually, no, I think it's good because one of the things that I'm going to do, and I appreciate it, I forget who it is. Let's see here. I can't see your name. But someone here put in, she's got some tools for parents. So one of the things that I'm doing, and you could even do this to your point, Diane, but like I'm really lucky I have only 5-year-old. I say I'm so grateful I don't have a teenager in high school right now. I don't think I'd manage as well with the calculus and stuff. But as I'm doing her daily schedule, there's things that she already does. Like she has yoga time. So we're going to do yoga together now. And but then also feeding in that sort of, I know we don't say balance, blending, right, is a lot of the things that we're doing. But so when she has, you know, independent reading time, then that can be mommy's work time, you know. And so I think if we start thinking, that's even more innovative for me, right? So like I've always made excuses, I can't get to the gym, and now more than ever I need to be healthy. So we're just going to use YouTube TV. You know, YouTube, I think is going to be a great resource to a lot of us right now as well. You know, I can do my workouts through YouTube and Pinterest. I've been getting a lot of ideas. But yeah, one of the things that I want to share, Nancy, you mentioned this, is just the aspect, really getting creative. It sounds like a lot of you, someone else, and I'm going to scroll up really quickly and make sure everybody saw it, about how they were using LinkedIn to Aaliyah, is that right, guys? I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses. I didn't even put my reading glasses on. She's been doing some stuff with direct LinkedIn connections and demoing products. So LinkedIn is huge. And Nancy, we may even want to think about doing a session. I've taken some classes and stuff, and we could share some tips about it. Is actually turning into one of the biggest tools in making some of the fastest millionaires out there, based on some classes I've taken, just through building connections prior to the virtual environment we're in now. But one of the biggest tips is to look at whatever you do and obviously consider how you can use. And I've seen things, I was telling Nancy today, even from a troupe, that they make their money off of having princesses go to parties, or characters. It's a character thing. So you can hire them. We had an event, a tea party event, to raise money for foster children, and they sent Alice and the Queen of Hearts. So they now are offering virtual meet and greets instead, and at various prices depending on the time frame you want the character for. So again, a very innovative way to continue to grow her business. I know it's a woman-owned business, and she employs some of the local students, right? We have Flagler College here, and so a lot of them, we have a lot of kids that are from here, so even going home is here, and they're out of work right now for various reasons. And so this is going to keep those kids that work for her employed as well, and making some money. So that's a win-win. Also, like I said, our local coffee company updated their app where you could do pre-order and pick up, and we have a huge environment of coffee companies here, and then actually that's where I did most of my meetings prior to now. So they're also offering shipping their coffees, which they weren't before, and delivery within a 30-mile radius, right? So, you know, again, looking at what could be profitable, but also considering how to do that. And then I don't know if anybody else saw the new news out of Orlando. I'm lucky where I live. I get news from like half of the state up here in Palm Coast. We get Jacksonville, we get Orlando, but they were talking about how some of the restaurants have fresh food on hand. And because we're starting to run out of some products at some of our stores, some restaurants there got together and have a drive up grocery. And so they're being able to sell off, and before it expires, some of the produce and products that they had shipped in like this week, and, you know, get a little bit of income. I mean, some of them are cooking, but we know we're going to see less than that potentially as concerns someone else said about utensils and things that it could stick on. So I just love some of the innovation I'm seeing, and then you know, getting out there, as we said, we're hoping these sessions and talking to each other, so what Nancy and I find is when we talk, oh, but maybe they could try this, but maybe they could try that. So Joanna, what are you hearing over there in Tampa?
Okay, so of course, you know, the restaurants are doing the takeouts, and there's a pizza company that's actually doing like a DIY pizza kit. So, you know, because I bet they're slammed, so you know it'll take an hour to make your pizza and then another hour to deliver it, but you can get the dough and the cheese and the pepperoni in a kit, and then you do it at home with your family.
Oh, nice.
Oh, how
So it's kind of like
awesome.
a win-win because you spend time with the family, you know, and then you're also eating dinner and you're supporting a small business. So I thought that was interesting. And then along with that, you know, there's a company, the AR Workshop, that has like, they do build crafts in the store and in an event-like setting. And so they came up with a DIY craft kit. So you take that home and you do the kit at home with your family. So a similar DIY type structure. And then I don't know if Nancy was going to talk about this, but I think, you know, just showcasing your inventory or what you do or what you provide as a video online for your customers to see. And you know, if you expose one person to it, they might think of someone else that could use it, you know. So it's not only you're selling to one person, but you know, that idea would stay in their head. And then but you know, so again, in like a video form, like a fashion show, Nancy has a story about the fashion show. And I think that's pretty unique. And I don't know, are you going to talk about that, Nancy?
Yeah, actually, it was Steph who told me about that company in Atlanta. So Steph, why don't you talk about that? Because I thought that was really innovative. And I think that that's the kind of thing that we all have to really just like step it up, you know, as far as creativity is concerned. So Steph,
Yeah, so I have a huge conglomerate of friends I went to college with that live in Atlanta, and my girlfriends and I have been touching, and one of them sent a link to support her favorite thrift store, which, as you guys know, with a lot of the recycling movement, right, thrift stores are huge now. They're on every corner. I mean, and they're really very, some of them can be, but anyway, this one woman, her and her partner, obviously they're sitting on merchandise, and so they just advertised a live on Facebook, and they had a set price. Pretty much all clothes, I think, were like, you know, $8 or something, and all shoes were, you know, $10, but it was a set price. And then for everything you bought, it was a set shipping of $6, or if you spent $50, it was free. But they literally pulled out items and they showed things and then watched the comments. Oh, I'll take that. Okay, Susie from wherever's taking that. We'll, you know, direct message you for your address, and sold products. And now they're going to continue to do that. So they pretty much clean out their inventory for now, because obviously they're not taking anything new because of the concern. But that way they'll be able to clean out their inventory and lower. And actually, one of the other things that I watched a little bit of it, saying, you know, because you may not think about, oh, people clothing shop right now, but like I do a lot of work with foster families, and I mean, what a great thing for us to share with our community, because it makes them feel like it's not necessarily the pride thing can come in. So, you know, for $6 to get some shoes or whatever is great for them. So I just loved that idea of showcasing your products, and I've seen a couple of you were doing that through LinkedIn and other things, but Facebook Live gives us a phenomenal opportunity to showcase, you know, if you do have a product and you want to sell it and you can ship it, then that is just another fabulous thing. But I just thought that was, so I just never even thought about a clothing store being able to, I wish, I have to admit, y'all, some of the craft stores would do that.
That's a great idea.
I'm going to miss my Hobby Lobby hit right now coming up.
I saw in the comments a little earlier that somebody suggested that we take time to write content now for our businesses, right? And I think that's a great idea. If there is somebody out there who doesn't have a monthly newsletter or a monthly or weekly touch to their existing or potential clients, now might be the time for you to consider doing that, right? Email is free. And you can get online and Google marketing tips for small businesses, and I found some really interesting monthly topics. So there's the usual, monthly topics. April is all about finances, right? Everybody's writing about finances because of tax day and all that. March is Women's History Month, etc. So you could go with a traditional marketing calendar and then just start posting articles and writing about things, how they relate to your own business. Another really great tip to do now is just to start sending letters of appreciation. Send those letters to your existing clients, send them to your employees, even send them to past clients. We appreciated you were a long-time client of ours, etc. It doesn't have to be paragraphs long. It could just be, during this time, we're thinking of you. And here's what we're doing to keep busy. And you can just give an update on what your company is doing. So I think it's really great, rather than have the mentality of, oh my God, we're at a standstill, there's nothing that we're doing. There's plenty you could be doing at this point. And then somebody asked whether or not we could recommend books. So yes, I can recommend many books to you. The first I would recommend is The Infinite Game. We talked about that a little earlier, by Simon Sinek. There's a great book. It's probably 5 or 6 years old now, but it's called The Confidence Code. And it talks all about the way women and men approach the issue of confidence so drastically differently. And the book was so well received, and the authors got lots of comments that, oh, I wish I'd known this when I was younger. So they actually wrote a second book called The Confidence Code for Girls. So if you have young women in your life, you might want to check this out and send it to them. Another really great book is Start With Why. We've kind of touched on that book too. Simon Sinek happens to be one of my very favorite authors. So Infinite Game and Start With Why are both by Simon Sinek. And then the other one that I just turned to recently, this also is probably about 3 or 4 years old. It's called Thank You for Being Late. And it's all about how technology is revolutionizing the way we do business. So now might be a really good time to go back to that book and look at the technological innovations that we've had, as well as to see from what you learn, what you can apply today. I'm going to be looking, as a team, we're going to be looking at the LinkedIn platform a little bit more, because Steph, based on what you said, and then I saw some other comments too about LinkedIn, there's a lot of opportunity for learning now.
Yeah, I saw somebody posted some of oh, you did, Diane, the LinkedIn. And
Yes.
And then yeah, we're going to keep that. So we'll also, I think, Nancy, it sounds like we need to put your book list back up. So we'll make sure we get Nancy's book list back up, and we always do links to the book. So we will
put some
definitely
novels
do
on there
that.
too.
Oh, sorry?
Put some novels on there too, Nancy.
Yeah, some fun
Yeah,
stuff, not just business. But I think that's a good segue, because another thing I've heard a couple of my friends encouraged me to do is that a lot of us have maybe always been sitting on our own book idea. And one of the best ways to actually write your book, Nancy, you can talk to this, is through writing your blog, your daily blog, and then at the end. So if you think about this, and not to scare anybody, but right now we're at least looking at 6 weeks, right, potentially, that we're going to be doing this. And so think about it. If that's 6 chapters potentially, even if you just did one a week. And you could have a book, right? So, or if you did one a day, you would have more than enough for a book. So just think about that, because I know, Nancy, you can talk about, that's really what we use to develop your book, right?
Yeah. We basically, the Tuesday toolboxes that some of you are familiar with, we took those and created a book edited by our very own Diane. So shortly we will do a launch party. I guess we'll have to do a virtual launch party, but we'll do a launch party for that book. But had I started out saying I'm going to write a book, I would still be working on the first chapter of that book, because, you know, it's so difficult, right? When you have to put all of your ideas on paper, you don't know where to start. But with the blog that I was doing on a weekly basis, it was about 300 words, and it was a weekly theme. And so there wasn't as much pressure as turn this into a 150-page book. We turned around and actually we're going to get 3 books out of that blog series. So I'm really happy about that. So I do encourage you to, you know, think in that way. Some people say, oh, I hate to write. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Well, just record your thoughts, right? And then there are companies out there that will transcribe an audio for you, and then you can do some editing based on what you already have, right? Because that's, I think for most people, it's getting that first paragraph on the page, which is the hardest thing, right? It's so much easier to edit than to create. So if you can speak your ideas, then that's a way to get the process started. And I'd also like to give a plug to Skillshare. I don't know if many people know about Skillshare, but you can share all sorts of information as a presenter on Skillshare. And the classes are about 20 to 30 minutes. And you can make a little bit of revenue with it, but it's really lead generation, right? So, and it's a great way to set yourself up as an expert. So we always talk about expert status as a great way to differentiate yourself from your competition. So if you can get 3-4 classes up on Skillshare, and then say, yeah, I've got courses on Skillshare. As you're marketing your business, it gives you instant credibility. And the other great thing about putting your content out there is that you can get some incredible ideas on how to change your content. Because the Skillshare, Coursera, Udemy, all those platforms, they interact the teacher and the students. And so you could see, well, you know, these questions keep coming up after I've shared XYZ. That means that I need to get my message clearer. Or this came up, it means I could now start talking about this as well. So I think that this is a really great opportunity for us all to really pause and consider what it is we can do to really think creatively. And maybe one of the sessions we'll do is just some creative thinking skills. And, you know, maybe we'll bring back the Creative and Innovation Challenge and have everybody think outside the box as to what it is they can do in their own business.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I don't know, and again, you guys have forgotten, Nancy and I do a lot of stuff together. So I think it was I think it was a friend of mine last night, but anyway, just those simple, sometimes getting back to the basics. Now, again, I'm so fortunate because I have a 5-year-old who reminds me constantly to get back to the basics. But even Nancy, you and I talk about oftentimes about embracing, maybe if there is a passion you've always had for art or something like that, that is a really great way to spur your creativity. And a lot of times in our busy lives, we haven't been able to fit that in as much. And so I would say as some of the skill sharing stuff, figure out what that was. If it wasn't reading, like for me, it really is doing art. And so someone talked about how coloring, you know, the adult coloring books became popular a while back. So, but it can get your mind into a space where it clears out and allows for creativity to flow in. And so a friend of mine reminded me of that last night, that we talked about this, it's okay. And I think that's hard to be still, like to give ourselves the permission to just be still in this moment, because none of us are used to that.
No.
Sitting still is hard.
Yeah. And if you do have troubles with figuring out how to meditate, I did come across this app called Calm app. And the Calm app has a plethora of resources, not only for meditation, and it has like a day by day, you know, what to do and how to do it, but also there are bedtime stories that help you go to sleep at night. And my head lately has been turning and turning with everything that's been going on. And I promise you that you will not get through the end of a story. And there's one by Matthew McConaughey, that's my favorite one. And just his voice and the story, it just puts me to sleep. So that might help you all at night, business owners that are having trouble sleeping at night. So.
Boy, that's a great one, because it is a lot going on. So again, just to sort of, because we're coming up on about 10 minutes left, so I just want to recap some of the things that we said. So I think one of the first things we said is to make sure that you are gone ahead and signed up for newsletters, SBA, maybe your local chamber. Our city council even has updates, so that because if some of you have been aware, obviously the governor is saying some things, but then your local mayors are also doing some things differently. And so it's really good to be aware, because I have noticed that every city council, like, it's so funny, just a really good example of, since I actually live on the border of, I literally live on the border of 2 counties, so I get info from both. And so when it comes to closing the beaches, Flagler County closed the beaches, no public access whatsoever. And yet St. Johns County only closed the parking lots. So you can still walk to the beach as long as there's no more than 10 people there. So you may say, well, but that is actually, so that's just an example of the differences from what the governor is doing down to your city and your local. So just sign up for as much as you can, and then, so that you keep up, because it is important as a business owner to know about going out, to business stores or whatever, because if you do need resources, this is really critical. They haven't put curfews in, and some places have, but not others have. Some cities have, some, it's just all over the place. So I would say really stay up informed. And then again, just know we're going to start next week with each night, Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. for 30 minutes. We're going to put all the links out. It's going to be a Zoom where we'll be able to see you. But again, you don't have to get all fancy. You can wear your pajamas. Nobody will judge. I will potentially have a 5-year-old running around, but
I will have a glass of wine in my hand.
Right, exactly. Diane's gonna have a wine chat on her day. So please beware to be able to come on and jump in. And then also remember that we are here. We sent out the email. We will continue to do so. If you don't have our emails, we make sure you get them. Reach out to all 4 of us. That's what we're here for. I know you guys all do too. I love to brainstorm. And so if you're like, okay, here's our thing, and you want to get Nancy or myself or any of us on the phone, reach out. That's what we're here to do. We are here to support you guys. And then the other thing I think I would say is that you guys have been sending us some great stuff. Please post things in the in the Facebook group, if you're in the members only group, if you have that. Someone else asked about opportunities. As we hear about them, Nancy is sending them to me. Diane, Joanna, they're all sending me things. We have that on the COVID resource page, a section for opportunities. So yes, if any, I think there was one that came out from the government because they were looking for some potential things. So we will continue to get those out. We are literally, so be patient with us as well, because you may be getting an email every other day, every day. Our part is as soon as we hear it, we want to get it in your hands. And so we just, you might want to flag emails, whatever you need to do from your system. But just know, I think I can say this on behalf of the whole team, we are here to support you through this time and to continue to grow your business. We know that it's a different time, right? I'm not going to say it is difficult, but it's also a difference. And so I see that as huge possibilities of how we can all partner together and continue to operate our businesses. It's just going to be different. So anything else you want to add, Nancy, to kind of wrap us up here?
Yeah, I think, yes, if we approach this time as a time of opportunity, I think that'll be great for everyone. And I also would just like to put out there that you can contact anyone in the group for any reason, right? It doesn't have to be purely business development. If you're exploring a creative idea and you want to talk about that, that's wonderful. If you're looking for resources, that's wonderful. So yeah, the collective mind is so much stronger than the individual mind. And I think women are great about sharing resources and sharing information. And I've been trying to read the chats the chat. Yeah, what's in the chat as we've been
We'll
talking.
get a transcript of it.
Yes, and there's lots and lots of information out there. When you come to the calls next week, just come with questions or ideas or, you know, things you want to share. I think that'll be a really great use of our time. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. And we hope to see you all again next week.
Yeah, yes. Sending out the best. We miss seeing you guys in person, but this is going to be awesome.
Yes, thank you,
Everyone.
everybody.
Bye, guys. Take
Bye,
care.